A very good noon to one and all. Today we will discuss about the electrical and electronic comparators and optical comparators. So in the previous lectures we have discussed about the mechanical comparators and pneumatic comparators. As per my observation, uh, in the mechanical comparators, so two mechanical comparators, some people are not much understandable. So I am repeating the sigma comparator and Johansson microcrater in the mechanical comparators. So and also we will discuss about the advantages and disadvantages of mechanical comparators, and then we will move to the discussion on electrical and electronic comparators, in which we will be discussing about the electro limit gauge, visual gauging head, and electronic comparator and their advantages and disadvantages. Then we will move on to the discussion on optical comparators. Okay, now let us discuss about the sigma comparator. Now you can see this figure which shows the sigma comparator. So there is a sturdy base, and then we have a column here on which the measuring head of sigma comparator is mounted. So we can adjust the height of this measuring unit by moving it up and down, and then clamping it at a desired height. So the vertical movement of the measuring unit is needed to adjust the workpieces of different heights. Now we can observe here a replaceable table. So depending upon the workpieces, we can replace these tables, and then we have to insert the workpieces between the surface of table and the plunger. So this it shows the schematic diagram of the sigma comparator. So here there is a surface of a table, and then we have a job which is to be inspected. The workpiece to be inspected is placed between the plunger and the surface plate. So when the workpiece size is equal to the desired size, then the pointer shows 0. So initially, using the slip gauges, we should adjust the gap between the plunger and the surface plate equal to the desired height. So in that case, the pointer will show the that means pointer will show the 0 reading, and then what is the upper limit and what is the lower limit of the workpiece. So accordingly we have to insert the slip gauges equal to the upper limit of workpiece, and then we can mark the upper limit of the workpiece, and then we should insert the slip gauge equal to the lower limit of the workpiece, and then we can adjust the lower limit of workpiece. So this limiting pointers, so we can adjust by operating these knobs. Now coming to the construction of sigma comparator, so we have a plunger, and which is connected to the rectangular block. So this rectangular block is supported by flexure plates, and two horizontal flexure plates, and uh, one plate and another plate are fixed, and then we have a knife edge which is supported on the cross strip hinge, And the details of the crossed strip hinge are shown here, and it consists of a fixed member and then a moving member. So with these two members are connected by the flexible strips as shown in this figure. And then we have a Y arm, which is one end of this is connected to the crossed hinge, and movable part of the crossed strip hinge, the other part is wound over a drum of the radius R. So a pointer of length R is mounted on the drum, and then there is a bronze band wound over the drum. Now, having studied the construction, now let us study how how this comparator works. So the plunger is attached to the rectangular bar that we can observe here, and knife edge is fixed to the bar, which is placed on sapphire block attached to the moving member of crossed strip hinge. So we have this Y arm, forked arm of length Y, and we can see here the distance between the knife edge and this vertical cross strip is small x. Then when the workpiece is mounted or inserted between the table and the plunger, depending upon the height of the workpiece, this plunger along with this bar, rectangular bar, will move up and down, and hence this part and this end of the forked arm will also move up and down. Then the other end of the forked arm will also move, and hence the pointer will also move in this fashion. So and hence we can take the reading using this using scale, and the magnification can be calculated by using this y by x into capital R by R. So y is the length of the fork arm, and x is the distance, and the times r upon small r, where r is the length of the pointer and small r is the drum radius. And the magnification possible with such a comparator varies from 300 to 5000, and a least count of 0 0.1 micrometer is possible. Okay, so this is the clear cut information about the uh, sigma comparator. And now next mechanical comparator is now we will move on to the discussion on Johansson microcator. So the construction of Johansson microcator is shown here. So we have the two S-shaped parts. These two parts are assembled by using the flexible slit washer. Now in the middle we have the plunger which moves up and down depending upon the workpiece height, and then there is a bell crank lever. This bell crank lever, one end of the bell crank lever is connected to S-shaped body, and other end is connected to the top end of the plunger, and then there is a metallic twisted strip. So here we have a cantilever strip. Between the cantilever strip and bell crank lever we have this twisted strip, and at the center we have a light pointer. Now let us see how this comparator works. When we insert the workpiece between the table surface and the plunger moves up and down depending upon the height of the workpiece. Any longitudinal movement in either direction, an upward direction or a lower direction, will cause the central portion of the strip to rotate. Okay, so when the plunger moves up and down, this bell crank lever will move in this will twisted. So because of this the length of this twisted strip changes, and hence the strip will rotate along with the pointer. Now we can see here one end of the strip is fixed to an adjustable cantilever, and the other end is fixed to the bell crank lever. The bell crank lever in turn is connected to the plunger at this portion which moves up and down. Then we insert the workpiece. Now the bell crank lever causes the twisted strip to change length when there is a movement in the plunger. So this change in the length will result in the proportional amount of twist of metallic strip. The magnification can be varied by changing the length of the bell crank lever. So this is the information about the uh, Johnson microcator. Okay. Now coming to the what are the advantages of mechanical comparators. So these are usually inexpensive when compared to the other devices, that means other type comparators. So these do not require any external supply such as electrical supply or compressed air supply. Usually the mechanical comparators have linear scale which is easily readable. These mechanical comparators are very robust and very compact, and hence they are easy to handle for ordinary workshop conditions. These are very suitable and are portable. Now the disadvantages of mechanical comparators, they have many moving parts than the other types. Due to this the friction is more, and ultimately the accuracy is less. So this figure shows the various parts, disassembled parts of dial indicator. Any slackness in moving parts which reduces the accuracy. So the mechanism has more inertia, and this may cause the instruments to be sensitive to vibration. So the range of the instrument is very much limited as a pointer moves over a fixed scale. Okay, so this is about the mechanical comparators. I hope everyone understand these mechanical comparators now. Now let us start the discussion on electrical comparator. A particular comparator named electro limit gauge. So in this we will study the construction of the measuring unit of electro limit gauge and working principle of electro limit gauge. And we can see here the schematic diagram of the measuring head of electro limit gauge. So the construction is shown here. So there is a surface plate or a table on which we have to place the workpiece. So we have to insert the workpiece between the plunger and the table surface. Now the plunger, depending upon the height of the workpiece, the plunger will move up and down. If the height of the workpiece is greater than the desired height, the plunger will move up. If the height of the workpiece is lower than the desired height, the plunger will move down. And then we have an armature which is supported by metal strip springs. Okay, uh, which is supported by metal strip springs. Those springs are here. So the other end is free to move up and down. When the plunger moves up and down, this armature will also move up and down like and it will tilt. Okay, so this being the hinged point. Now when the workpiece is removed, the plunger will move back because of this spring force. Now we can see here we have a two electromagnetic coils A and B housed in this enclosure. Now these two coils A and B, they form two arms of AC bridge unit. Okay, when the plunger moves up and down, this armature will also move. The moment of the armature between the coils, so the armature will move in this so this part of armature will move up and down in the gap between these coils. Because of the movement of armature, the coils sets up out of the balance, which is indicated by a display unit. So this display unit will directly show the amount of movement of the plunger, which will indicates the deviation in size from the desired size. Okay. Now it shows the this view shows the complete arrangement of electrical comparator. So we have a table surface plate and a plate surface, and then this is the work table. There is a work table on which we have to place the components, the workpiece to be inspected. And this is a plunger of electro limit gauge. So the housing which contains the two coils and armatures etc, so there is a measuring unit, and the height of the measuring unit can be adjusted by operating the wheel to accommodate the workpieces of different size. Now the plunger movement sets up an out of balance which is supplied to the recording head. So when there is out of balance because of the movement of armature, now this pointer will move over the scale, and that movement of the pointer indicates the deviation of size from the desired size. Okay. Now move on to the this diagram. It shows the visual gauging head. Now this is the there is a work table on which we have to place the components. So and plunger of this visual gauging head which is connected to the rod C. So in between the plunger and rod C, we have the magnification device, which can be mechanical lever arrangement. Now we have two electrical contacts A and B. So in between these there is a gap between A and B. There is a gap in which the rod C will swing. Now the electrical contact's position can be adjusted by operating the micrometers. So depending upon the upper limit and the lower limit, the position of these electrical contacts is adjusted by operating the micrometers. Now when the rod C is in a central position, that means it is not in contact with either A or B, then that indicates that the workpiece size is between upper limit and the lower limit, and the green light will glow, which indicates that the workpiece can be accepted. Now if the workpiece size is greater than the desired size, or if crosses the upper limit, then rod C moves to the right and makes contact with B. When the workpiece height is uh, greater than uh, the upper limit will the plunger will move up, height is G. So then the rod C will swing and it makes contact with this contact B. Okay. And then red light will glow. So this which indicates that the workpiece is above the upper limit and it should be rejected. So green light is accepted. If it is a green light, then it is accepted, and it's a red light means it should be rejected. Now if the workpiece is undersized, that means it is lower than the lower limit, then the rod C will move to the left and makes contact with the contact A, and then the yellow light will glow, which indicating that the workpiece size is lower than the lower limit and it should be rejected. Okay. So we can see that in this type of comparator, the actual size of the workpiece is not indicated. It will only indicate whether the workpiece is acceptable or to be rejected. Okay. Now Move on to the next type, which shows a multi-gauging device. So in the previous case, we have one set of contacts. That means at any given point of time, we can check only one dimension. Whereas in multi-gauging devices, so multiple sizes can be checked at a time. For example, we have a workpiece wherein we have four dimensions to be inspected. So there is a consider a first dimension, second dimension, third dimension, and fourth dimensions, and four dimensions are to be checked. So in such cases, we can have a multi-gauging device, since four dimensions are to be checked. So we can have four gauging units. So the workpiece is to be inspected, is placed on the table, and the work parts will come in contact with these gauging units. So depending upon the actual size of the different dimension of workpiece, the yellow light, green light, or red light glow depending upon the size, and they will indicate whether the workpiece can be accepted or not. So these are the various electrical comparators, and now come move on to the discussion on electronic comparator. So this figure shows the general arrangement of electronic comparator. Now there is a contact probe or stylus which comes in contact with the workpiece. The workpiece is to be inserted between the contact probe and the table. So depending upon the height of the workpiece, this contact probe will swing. Now the electronic circuitry of this comparator is shown here. We have an oscillator, and then we have a regulated DC supply, and there is a provision for adjusting the zero. The range can also be adjusted. Different ranges can be selected, and then magnification can be adjusted. Now these electronic comparators, they work on the principle of frequency modulation. When the workpiece is placed on the table, the oscillator frequency alters. That is because of change in the dimension of workpiece from the preset value for the desired size of workpiece. So there is a particular frequency. When the size of the workpiece differs from the desired size, then the frequency gets altered, which is indicated by the display unit in terms of linear dimension. So thereby we can inspect the workpiece, and then we can decide whether it should be acceptable or rejectable. Okay. Now move on to the advantages of electrical and electronic comparators. So the measuring unit, uh, now in this type of comparators, the measuring unit can be at a remote place, and the display unit can be in control room. So in the control room, we will come to know whether the workpiece can be accepted or rejected, or how many workpieces are rejected. Now, how many workpieces are accepted in a particular shift can be, the details can be obtained in the display unit placed in the control room. Now there are a very less number of moving parts in electrical and electronic comparators, hence the frictional losses are very less. So very high magnifications are possible, as high as 10,000 times, and the measuring unit can be very small, very compact, and hence it is easily portable. Now disadvantages of electrical and electronic comparators. These types of comparators, they require external power supply. That is, electrical power supply is needed for the operation of these comparators. If there is any fluctuation in the electrical power supply, it will definitely affect the results obtaining from the comparators. And since in some cases there are heating the coils, magnetic coils are there, So because of heating of these coils, the measuring unit may cause zero drift, which alters the calibration of the comparator. So at regular intervals, we have to recalibrate the comparator to ensure that the comparators are working with the correct calibration. If the scale is fixed with a moving pointer, then the working range is very small with a high magnification of the comparator. Generally, these electrical and electronic comparators are more expensive when compared to the mechanical comparators. Now, let us move on to the discussion on optical comparator. The next comparator, which is optical comparator. So now let us study the working principle of optical comparator. So we can see here we have a mirror which is pivoted at some point at a distance of d. We have a plunger. So this plunger moves up and down when we insert the workpiece between the plunger and the table. So when the plunger moves up and down and the mirror gets tilted. Now then when there is no movement and the mirror is horizontal, we have a light source here. There is a light source and reflected light source, and then we have a screen with a scale. Now the angle, and this angle is equal to the angle that is available here, and there is a normal to the mirror surface. So and there is light ray and this reflected light ray. So this angle is equal to the that required angle. Okay, now when there is no movement, when the mirror is horizontal, so we have a light source. Then the plunger moves up by the distance h, then the mirror gets tilted by an angle theta. Now we can observe that the reflected light tilts by an angle 2 alpha. The mirror tilts by alpha, the reflected light tilts by 2 alpha. And this is how we get the magnification in optical comparators. Now this diagram shows the general arrangement of optical comparator. So we have a surface table and the table surface, and there is a workpiece. So depending upon the heights of workpieces, we have a input displacement x. So there is a deviation from the desired size, and we have a lever, and there is a pivot here, and the one end of the lever is in contact with the workpiece surface and the other end is in contact with the mirror. So when the one end of the lever moves by the distance of x, the other end moves by distance y. Because of this mechanical amplification, now when this end of the lever moves by y, the pivot, again we have the mirror here and a pivot here. So because of the movement y, the mirror tilts by theta and the reflected light moves by 2 theta. So if the moment at this point is small x, the moment of the pointer over the scale is capital X. Hence the moment is magnified here. So we have a mechanical amplification as well as optical amplification. Okay, now the main advantage of optical comparator is that it is capable of giving higher degree of magnification due to the reduction of moving less number of moving members, and higher degree of magnification is possible because we use two types of magnifications, one by mechanical amplifications, and further it is magnified by optical means. So far we discussed about different kind of comparators, wherein there is a plunger in the comparator which comes in contact with the workpiece surface, and the plunger moves depending upon the size of workpiece, and the movement of a plunger is sensed and then it is amplified, and the amplified value is compared with the desired size of workpiece. Okay, so this is the uh, clear cut information about the mechanical, electrical and electronic comparators, optical comparators, and pneumatic comparators. So this is about the comparators. I hope everyone understand these comparators. So once again I am going to discuss about these optical comparators. So listen carefully. So I am saying about the working principle of optical comparators. So in these comparators, use is made of fundamental optical law, and instead of the printer. So the edge of the shadow is projected onto the curved graduated scale to indicate the comparison measurement. So the optical principle adopted is that of optical lever, which is shown in this figure. So if a ray of light OA strikes a mirror, it is reflected as ray AB, such that now if the mirror is tilted through an angle alpha, the reflected ray of light has moved through an angle 2 alpha. Okay, understand? If the mirror is tilted through an angle alpha, the reflected ray of light has moved through an angle 2 alpha. In optical comparators, the mirror is tilted by the measuring plunger movement, and the movement of the reflected light is recorded as an image on the screen. Then we can compare the results. Okay, so this is about the optical comparator. In this optical comparators, uh, we have a mechanical sorry, in these optical comparators we have some mechanical comparators, mechanical optical comparators. So in mechanical optical comparators, small displacement of the measuring plunger are amplified first by the mechanical system, which consisting of pivoted levers. The amplified mechanical movement is further amplified by a single optical system involving the projection of image. So the mechanical system which causes a plane reflector to tilt about an axis, and the image of an index is projected on the scale on the inner surface of a ground glass screen. Okay, so by using this we can compare the results. So in this the mechanical uh, amplification by the lever is identified. That means capital L2 by L1. So see this figure. Now if the moment of the plunger causes the mirror to tilt by an angle alpha, then the image will be tilted by 2 alpha. Okay, therefore the optical amplification is 2 into L4 by L3. Thus, overall magnification of this system is 2 into L2 by L1 into L4 by L3. So this is about the mechanical optical comparator. Now, next comparator in this optical type Zeiss ultra optimeter. The optical system of Zeiss ultra optimeter involves the double reflection of light and thus gives higher degree of magnification. This diagram shows the optical system of this type of comparator. The light rays from the lamp falls on the green filter. The green filter filters all and only green light passes to the condenser, which projects is onto the movable mirror M1. It is then reflected to the another fixed mirror M2 and then back again to the first movable mirror. The objective lens brings the reflected beam from the first mirror to a focus at a transparent graticle containing a precise scale which is viewed by an eyepiece. The magnification. So here the magnification, if the distance from the plunger center line to the first mirror pivot is small x and the plunger moves a height h, then the angular moment of the mirror is delta theta equal to h by x. If f be the focal length of the lens, then the moment of the scale is 2f delta theta, that means 2f h by x. Therefore the magnification is 2f h by x into h equal to 2f by x. Overall magnification is 2f by x into eyepiece magnification. So clearly understand this Zeiss ultra optimeter. Okay, now move on to the next optical comparator is Zeiss optotest comparator. So this is a commercial measuring instrument which consists of a plunger and a tilted mirror, the objective lens, the prism and observing eyepiece to provide a high degree of magnification. This diagram shows the Zeiss optotest comparator. So the mirror is mounted on the knife edge and it can be tilted about this fulcrum by any linear vertical movement of the contact plunger. A beam of light passes through a graticle suitably engraved with a linear scale. The movement of the mirror causes this scale to move up and down past a transparent screen inside the observing head of the instrument. So the eye placed near the eyepiece views the image of a small scale engraved on glass after reflection from the plunger actuated mirror plunger actuated mirror and the prism as shown in the plan view of the figure. Okay, so a beam of light passes through a graticle suitably engraved with a linear scale. The movement of the mirror causes the scale to move up or down past a transparent screen inside the observing hood of the instrument. The eye placed near the eyepiece views the image of a small scale engraved on glass after reflection from the plunger actuated mirror and the prism as shown in the plan view of the figure. So in the focal plane of the eyepiece, a fine reference line or fine reference index is provided and the system of lenses is so arranged that the image of the scale is projected in the same focal plane. Thus, only the moment of the scale image can be measured with reference to the fixed line. The division of the scale image opposite the index line, which indicates the amount of movement of the contact plunger. The image of the scale and the index line could also be viewed through a projection system. The overall magnification of this comparator is 2f by small d into eyepiece magnification, where f is the focal length of the lens and d is the distance between the knife edge of the planar. Okay, so I hope everyone understand this optical different types of optical comparators and advantages of optical comparators are discussed earlier. Once again I am discussing advantages. High accuracy. So these comparators have very few moving parts and hence which gives high accuracy and no parallax error and which gives high magnification and optical lever is very weightless. It is also one advantage. And illuminated scale, since scale is illuminated, it enables readings to be taken irrespective of room lighting conditions. Okay. And the disadvantages, it depends on external electrical power supply and operators is usually bulky and expensive and instrument is inconvenient for continuous usage because the scale is to be viewed through eyepiece and when the scale is projected on a screen, the instrument is to be used in dark room. As the magnification is high, heat from the lamp and the transformers etc which causes the setting the drift. Okay, so these are the various disadvantages of optical comparators. Okay, so I hope everyone understand this comparators concept. So what is a comparator? uh, Comparator means it is a precision instrument employed to compare the dimension of a given component with a working standard. Okay, so this comparator which gives the linear measurement and works on relative measurement and which indicates only dimensional difference in relation to the basic dimension and it eliminates the human effort in taking the measurements and gives the accurate results consistently. So why we are using these comparators means in generally the mass production there are very large scale products are to be very there are so many products are produced in a large scale to achieve the interchangeable type these parts should be produced to a very good tolerances dimensional tolerances. In that case the inspection is needed with the fast and accurate. So in this case to this extent the inspection becomes a process of comparing the manufactured part to the master part which have a very limited time which gives very limited times and the time is required to measure the dimension. So by using these comparators it is very less time and no skill for the operator and which eliminates the human element for taking the measurement and which gives quick and highly consistent results. Okay. And these comparators are generally various ways in which comparators are used in laboratory standards, working standards and final inspection gauges and receiving inspection gauges and for checking newly purchased gauges etc. And various characteristics of good comparator like high magnification, quick in results and robust design and construction, versatility and minimum wear of contact point and free from backlash and adjustable table and free from oscillations etc. And classifications in our syllabus there are four types of comparators are there. Mechanical comparators and pneumatic comparators and electrical and electronics comparators and optical comparators. And also we have discussed about the mechanical optical comparators also. Okay, so in the mechanical comparators we have discussed the dial indicator, reed type mechanical comparator, Johnson microparator and sigma comparator. So in this lecture we have discussed the sigma comparator and Johansson microcator, and electrical and electronics comparator, and optical comparators. Okay, so in this electrical and electronic comparators, visual gauging head we have discussed, and multi gauging head also discussed, and optical comparator. In these optical comparators, we have discussed about the working principle of the optical comparators, and um, various types like mechanical optical comparators, Zeiss ultra optimeter, and Zeiss optotest comparator, and various advantages and disadvantages of optical comparators, and also and advantages and disadvantages of electrical and electronic comparators. So I hope everyone understand this comparators concept, and in the next class, in the next lecture, we'll move on to the next unit. So in this fourth unit, we have discussed about the surface measurement and the comparators concept. Okay, so everyone, uh, please read well, and stay home, and stay safe. Thank you. Bye.